Ladies and gentlemen, nice to meet you all in this fascinating event and very interesting topic. I was honored to moderate this session with the actual creators of the metaverse platforms and advisors, industry experts. So many talks around the metaverse, many investments, funding has gone there, and many entrepreneurs it captured the imagination of the many entrepreneurs and investors. So, but we see the adoption of the metaverse is not that level that everyone is forecasting. And of course it will grow. And what do you think about the adoption, and what do you think about the growth of the metaverse and entering into daily life of the people? Before going to these topics, I would like to present the guests. Jorge, he is the co-founder of the EcoX, and he will present himself and many other companies, industry expert. And Assad is the co-founder of the medieval games, revolutionary game on the blockchain and metaverse platform. My name is Emin. I'm a co-founder of Metafluence, and metaverse platform allowing influencers to monetize social power in the metaverse. So yeah, let's start, Jorge, with you. What are your forecasts about the adoption of the metaverse, and what are the barriers now?
I guess, hello?
Hello, hello.
It was working before.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here in Istanbul again. It's a very welcoming city. Having worked, I guess, in technology for a little bit over 36 years across North America, and for the last 27 years around the Middle East and a bit of Africa, Asia, and Europe, metaverse is obviously a combination of many technologies that have come together. Also, metaverse is not something new. A lot of the technologies that are part of metaverse, including immersive technologies, virtual reality technologies, have been with us from the gaming area since the early 2000s, even probably a little bit earlier. However, every time we create a new buzzword, a new solution, people tend to migrate to it. It's a bit like the fashion business. So I think there's good points because a lot of energy gets put in these new solutions, but there's obviously some what I would call showstoppers or barriers that are reducing the level of potential adoption. And some simple examples of that is today the device of choice for most people is the mobile phone. Not everybody carries around their laptop or desktop with them anymore. That really means most metaverse solutions need to be able to function very well in the mobile phone. Very few of them actually do. That really means that itself is a major barrier of adoption. So without being able to support these devices in a universal area, it slows down adoption. It's a question of cost as well. I mean, if you go to, I visit about 35 countries in Africa, they can barely afford a $100 device. So if you have something like Oculus costs $1,000 on average, I mean, they're not going to go spend that just to enter into another medium. I think the second area that is quite important has to do with how we integrate the metaverse. There's not one single metaverse. I actually prefer the word multiverse or miniverse, in the sense there's a whole series of metaverses that are focused on specific vertical areas, but we need to address the issue of portability of assets in integration across metaverses so that the assets have some value. Of course, digital wallets are a critical element of that. A third area that I think is also a potential showstopper has to do with the issues of privacy, cybersecurity. I have about 26 plus years in that area. We have a group called xrsi.org. If you can go there, it has a framework to help evaluate the privacy and the security of immersive environments. So I think it is important that in this new world, we also needed to secure the same way that you secure more traditional applications. And lastly, I think the metaverse has a lot to do with the adoption from Web 2 to Web 3.0. I think most of people are still sitting in Web 2. Some of the demos and live cases saw something like 7 or 10 or 20 concurrent users, which is not enough of adoption. We need millions of users. So the question is how we create this level of adoption between Web 2, Web 3. So I think we have to focus a lot on the current level of what I might call Web 2.5, is how we take the users from this Web 2.0 to Web 3 by introducing digital assets and other elements into the equation to drive a better rate of adoption. And the last point I think is very important has to do with the UI and the user friendliness. We have to understand that if the doorman sitting there or the security guard has a hard time navigating in the metaverse or connecting a MetaMask wallet, for us, we do that every day and we think it's simple, but for them, it may not be so intuitive. So that means we need to fix the UI issues so that we drive much more global adoption.
Thank you, Jorge. Assad, one specific question for you. What makes metaverse different than gaming? As you have vast experience in gaming, and of course gaming industry is growing and millions of users, but metaverse number of users in popular metaverse platforms are very low. So what's the problem? And please present yourself and talk about the difference of gaming and metaverse.
So I would say, I would emphasize on the most points you already mentioned, but it's at the end the utility, or how do I use a metaverse at the end? Because at the moment we have a lot of metaverses around there, but you just see 100, 200, 300 people in these metaverses, and this is because they are not yet fun, or there's not a real how can I use it to be more efficient or to be better than now. I think there are not too many use cases. And on top is that the devices we have today to be in the metaverse, they are not very nice to wear, right? If you wear VR glasses for a longer time, your eyes get sick and your head feels like strange. So I think if we have better devices in the future, and I think there are a lot of companies working on that with billions of US dollars putting in that, I think in the next years we will have these devices which will be very easy to use. I think finally it will move to just glasses. You have glasses like I have on, and if we are at that stage, I think then it's much easier to use the metaverse, because then no matter where I go, no matter where I am, I'm in the metaverse, and then it can help me for different things. But I think gaming will also drive usage in the metaverse like it does in the blockchain area, I would say. Like in blockchain, almost 50% of all transaction is made in games. Yes. And I think in the metaverse also gaming will drive it, because gamers are very adaptive, early adapters, so they try out new things and they want to have fun. So I think the metaverses in gaming we see, they will grow a little faster. And if we have enough people in and we have use cases on how to use the metaverse in a gamification mode, let's say, after that everyone else will come into. Because at the end, all the big companies or countries, yes, they're doing this stuff because they see some future, but we still need some proof on how you can make money, right? If you can show how you can make money in the metaverse, then everyone will come. Because then all companies, they are, even the not so innovative companies, they will also join, because then they understand, okay, money is in, I also want to come in.
Actually, fashion companies are jumping in the metaverse because they see that money, potential of that money, because they will sell not only physical clothes, but virtual clothes as well. So a new product type emerged for them.
Exactly. I mean, I think this is already a good use case, because if you see at the moment, like gamers, they have skins in the game they can put on their heroes or whatsoever, and they really think it's mine, and I really like it if it's different. So putting this industry in the metaverse makes sense, because you want to present something you can wear in the metaverse and outside, and you can have your own avatar. How do I look like in there already? So I don't need to go to a shop, I don't need to go anywhere, I can just try to fit it in the metaverse, and if I like it, then I already order it, right? So this is a use case where it gets easier and better, but still again, the devices need to be there, right? That I can really see it in an immersive way. Because at the moment we are on the PC, maybe on the mobile phone, it's not really immersive. It's not the feeling I'm in and I really feel like it's real. At a certain stage, we will be there, and then the metaverse, I'm 100% convinced the metaverse will be huge, and most people in the world will use it in the future, because it's just so convenient and easy in the future. But again, my statement would be, gaming will come first, gamification. This will make the metaverse big, and then the other companies will come later.
Amazing. Another motivation for the adoption, I think, will be the earn models. So there are different earn models in the market: play to earn, move to earn, influence to earn, and different. And blockchain enables that, the tokenization and other NFTs and other implications enable people to earn while being in the metaverse. Do you think, Jorge, this having extra revenue in the metaverse would be motivation for the people to enter?
Yes, I believe that there's new revenue models. Typically, anytime you have a new technology and you have a combination of technologies, like, because metaverse is not one single technology.
Yes.
If you look at the Gardner Group analysis of the metaverse, they combine about 13 different technologies that are part of metaverse. Example would be infrastructure, immersive, natural language processing, digital assets, just to name a few. Then the element is the business model. So a business model means you have like freemium, you have play to earn, and every time you have a new business model, and there's about 8 or 10 of them, it actually causes a much faster adoption of new technology. Now, adoption means different things for different people. In the case, for example, of play to earn, countries like, for example, Philippines or Indonesia or others, it'll be much easier in the case that a play to earn may actually mean the salary of one person for 1 week might feed that family. In other parts of the world, let's say maybe North America, the incentive is not at the same level. So if you have the right level of incentive, then you end up with a much more adoption level. I usually also like to look at what I sometimes call the definition of the modern billionaire. This is coined by a good friend of mine by the name of Brock Pierce for many years. And he says, what is the new definition of a modern billionaire? Is somebody who creates a solution that actually helps 1 billion people. So you're going to say, where can I find 1 billion people? Well, you have 1 billion people in Africa, you have 1 billion people in China, you have 1 billion people in India, you have 2 billion Muslims around the world. So you have obviously solutions that can address how to build community around those groups of people. Even a single country in Africa, which is Nigeria, today has got 300 million, 400 million, is going to go to 1 billion over the next few years. So these are the new massive adoption areas. So anybody who's trying to create a solution, you need to address the problems and the cost factors of those adoptions. I get back to the Oculus as an example, nothing against Oculus, but a $1,000 device is not going to make it in Africa. However, today there's already new technology, like for example a skin that you can put on a normal screen that costs anywhere from $3 to $4 and makes your screen, including a mobile screen, 3D. So the images come out of that screen and gives you an immersive experience. So if you have a solution that has this kind of cost implications, then you can reach much better adoption. In the play to earn is the capability of having the tokens, and the tokens are actually quite valuable as long as you have 2 or 3 things. You have a good community around them, you have also a good liquidity, because some of the tokens kind of don't have any liquidity. So once you have these 3 or 4 elements together, then you can drive a much better adoption. The last element I think is very important is the creation of a community. So once you have a community around a vertical solution, then you can drive much higher adoption rates.
Thank you, Jorge. Assad, for you the same question, but I would add more because you're in gaming. And tell you please your plans for the medieval empires about the localization of the games, and because the adoption will become through the localization also. There are many talks about metaverse localization, adding cultures, local touch to the metaverse. And your platform is also medieval empires, is about local empires. So what do you think about, what are your plans on that?
Yeah, so we're building actually a mid-core strategy game on the blockchain. We have with 3 co-founders. It's Kar the Moon, he's a big blockchain entrepreneur, and we have Engin Altan Düzyatan, who's also co-founder, and me. And we are building actually medieval empires in the times of the 13th, 14th century, when the Kai tribe was in power, right, with Ertugrul Ghazi, and this is just one faction we have. We also have the English Crusaders, and then our go-to-market strategy here is more, we see which countries are interested in our game. Let's say there are a lot of people from Pakistan joining the game, then we would add a medieval faction from Pakistan, and then they join the game at a certain time. And then you can also play the medieval Pakistan army, and the land will open in Pakistan. You can buy and you can own at the end, right? And this is what we would do again and again. If we see later on a lot of Chinese people coming into it, we would create the Chinese medieval army, and then they can play the Chinese medieval army and buy land in China. So this is on how we want to go on. Of course, we will adapt the language there. We will adapt the skins and the art there, so it's always fitting to the culture where we go. And I think this is very important to have the whole world at the end in the game somehow, but we also focus a lot on real gamers. So we call ourselves a mid-core play and own blockchain game, but we don't put too much efforts on this play and earn, what you said, because play and earn, this is a phrase which comes from Axie Infinity and the first wave of blockchain games, where you play a game and then you earn something. And in the metaverse, something like that could work, but the issue is with this play and earn models is that it's somehow called a Ponzi scheme also. Yes. So it just works for a certain time, because you always need new people coming in who pay something that the first people can earn something, right? So we don't believe in that. We believe in real ownership, and I think this will be also main part of the metaverse. If you are in the metaverse, and what I already said, like gamers, they already love the skins, but they're never owned by themselves. So the game production company, they could any time say, and this happened in the past in some games, we remove the skin or remove any item in the game because we don't think it's good anymore in the game. And then someone who played or was in the metaverse for 1 or 2 years working on that to get it, they just don't own it anymore. And they're very sad about that. In this metaverse and blockchain games, where it will disrupt the gaming industry and where it will help to get more people in the metaverse, is that I really own it, right? So if I once got it, it's really mine. And I can sell it on any place, on any open marketplace where I want to sell it, and I can make money with that. So this real ownership, I think, is the most important thing of the metaverse, of blockchain gaming, on everything which is digital, that you really own it. It's like the adaptation from real life, right? So in real life, of course, there's a second-hand market, that's fine, but even then in a second-hand market, I also own it for a certain time, really, right? So people like to own things and to show off, and this is what will also happen in the metaverse, but they can only do it if they can prove it's really mine. And it's much easier to prove it's mine, because in the real world, if you have a painting, a very expensive one, in your room, first of all, no one sees it because it's in your private room. Second of all, no one knows if it's real or not. But if you use blockchain combined with the metaverse, then you can prove that it's really mine, because it's on the blockchain, it's open, and everyone can see, oh, it's really mine, right? So this will help a lot in getting more into this blockchain and metaverse area, that I really own something.
Amazing. So metaverse is like synthesis of different technologies. So we talk about immersive technologies, yes. We talk about NFTs, digital ownership. We talk about mixed reality implications of the mixed reality implication of metaverse with the real life. So that's my question to you about the implications in the real life, Jorge. And I listened to your speech about the implications of blockchain and NFTs in the real estate.
Yes.
So taking the real estate as a first, but you can add more industries, which industries do you think will lead the metaverse growth and adoption?
That's actually a good question. I believe, although we have the metaverse as a pure digital world, I believe the successes of the metaverse are going to be the ones that combine the physical world with the digital world in a smart, effective way. Now, one example is obviously real estate. Let's assume you are a construction company, real estate developer in Dubai. Maybe some people come via Dubai, but not necessarily everyone. And you want to promote this real estate, so you'll have both the physical version of that real estate and you have the digital one in the metaverse. So people will be able to experience that real estate as if you're actually physically there. So you see not just the videos or the images, you're actually able to go inside that real estate, and it's a photorealistic version of that real estate. And then you may decide to either buy that real estate, or in the case, if you use blockchain, you may have even concepts like fractional ownership. That means you will actually own only a percentage of that real estate. So it introduces more flexible business models. But I do believe that this does not just apply to real estate. It applies to brands and to fashion and other important. So there's also the birth of new terms. Many of you may have heard the term phygital, which stands for physical and digital. So some assets are being created both physically and digital. One example was obviously the ownership of some land in conjunction with the game. But today you have, for example, let's say a t-shirt from a very high valuable brand. What makes that valuable? So that t-shirt may actually have the physical t-shirt, but they may have a metaverse component that might be identified by an NFT that is actually part of that. So we have colleagues like in Dubai, one example is Amrita Shetty, which does a lot of these metaverse integration with fashion that enables a whole new generation of solutions to actually take place. I do believe other areas that can benefit substantial from it, one is definitely education. So the way we actually deliver education is going to be radically different. Not everybody can always travel to a location to get or receive education. So having a hybrid approach that is both physical and digital at the same time will enable a much higher degree of education and much better success rate for the students that will actually participate in those programs. Now, the first versions of the metaverse that you saw are not really yet so much photorealistic. Some of them only decided to produce half a body instead of a full body. But I think that if the gaming guys get involved, they have much better experience at delivering much more photorealistic versions of the metaverse. And I think that is going to be important. Other areas that I think could potentially also benefit, one might be healthcare. We already see immersive environments being used in healthcare to deliver remote healthcare, where sometimes you cannot travel or you have remote locations. All of this requires several ingredients to come together. One is very good telecommunications, very good cloud computing capacity, so that it actually does the artificial intelligence that is required or the image rendering that is required to deliver these highly immersive environments. So when all these elements come together, then you obviously achieve a much better success rate of those new environments. But for me, yes, the combination of physical and digital are key. The last one I want to mention is what is happening in solutions like NEOM in Saudi Arabia. Although NEOM is designed to be actually a smart city, it's a bit like Tesla, much more of a data play than actually a physical play. What that really means, they're focusing up on the technology. So if you have a smart city, which is the physical one, and you have a virtual version of that smart city, and you're able to control the elements of that smart city vis-a-vis how do I control the temperature of my house remotely, how do I find parking when I go to a given location. It allows you to achieve a much better experience in the usage of the services in that smart city.
Very good, thank you. Jorge, you mentioned about the education, and suddenly spontaneous question came to my mind about medieval empires and history. So actually it's an ideal place where you can teach the history and make it immersive. Do you have such plans?
Yeah, actually, yes. So we will do, I mean, our game is based on historic facts.
Yes.
We also have one advisor who's professor in Harvard and Stanford. It's a Turkish professor of history. And he helps us in making some putting more real stuff in and educate people, because there's a lot of the Turkish history and also from other countries people still don't know, and which is sometimes only shown from the Western media in a different way, which is sometimes not the real way if you talk to Turkish historians, for example. So we also will show that and educate people while they are playing something on the history of Turkey and also of other players. That's actually the thing we want to do. And my wife is a teacher, actually, and if we talk about education, I think the metaverse could also help here a lot, that you have virtual class. I mean, it already was somehow digitally, it was happening in COVID times, right, where they had like online lectures, but I think this will happen much more if we talk about the global world and even poor countries, and they want to have good education, and there are states who want to support that. They can have teachers from anywhere, from any direction, from anywhere in the world. They can teach, and then there could be classes at home where they get very good education. So I think this is also a very good use case for the metaverse. And another thing, it's also my wife, she's a teacher, and she also loves to change everything in our home, right? So of furniture, like every year she wants to have a new sofa or whatsoever, and I'm just thinking, like, how do we perceive reality? If we talk to a colorblind person, he would tell you that a certain chair is not red because he sees it in a different color, so it's a different reality. So if we have these glasses, which are AR glasses, and I say, okay, I have this couch for a year now, and I want to have it in a different color, why do I need to buy a new one and not just tell my AR glasses it should be green now, or it should be white or black now for a certain time when I see it? Because what we people and how we people work is that we always want to have new colors, some new stuff, but with virtual reality and coming home with virtual glasses, this will be much easier in the future. So I think furniture is a little bit funny, but I think this could be a very good use case in the future at every home, to put this in a metaverse, or also put this in augmented reality.
Yeah, actually, that brings me an interesting aspect, because yesterday it was raining. It was very difficult to move around Istanbul. It took us an hour and a half from the airport. So we wanted to go have dinner, and then we decided and have dinner at the hotel where we're staying. This hotel is actually an interesting experience, which I had seen in Dubai, but it was nice to see it here in Istanbul. It's called Le Petit Chef, which is kind of an immersive dining experience. So you actually go to dine in a French restaurant, but it is also an immersive experience. So you experience 3D animation of some cartoon that is a little bit funny at times, and it's entertaining. So it's like a combination of theater, entertainment, and a dining experience all at once. So this allows you to create a whole new approach to monetize the usage of, and it does not require any glasses. Of course, it requires a dark environment, high resolution projection, a little bit of a simple setup, and that's it, away you go.
Yeah, I actually tried that a year ago, Le Petit Chef, and it's really cool, because it's entertainment and eating together, right? So it's much more fun to eat something. So this is I would say, the gamification part again, right? So if you put gamification also on finance products, I mean, this is what the finance industry and a lot of industries looking for. How can I make my product more fun or more immersive, that even also the younger generation maybe, or all generations, try my product? And I think this is a very good use case. So we enjoyed that very much. Yeah.
So we have very little, 45 seconds till the end of our session. Just to summarize, we are in the just start of the mega trend. For these different estimations, it will be from $1 to $10 trillion business. So what does it mean? It means that all current online businesses and gaming and many other will move to the metaverse. So, but when it will happen, how it will happen, what will be the main motivations, drivers of this growth, this is, again, disputable. And my personal feelings is that when the non-digital companies, traditional companies start invest there, and when the marketing budgets start going from traditional media, where currently digital media is also accepted as traditional media already, so it's not something new. When they will move to metaverse, that will give another real hype. So there was a hype created by influencers, by investors, by VC funds. That was cool. Many startups got founded. But the second hype will happen when we will hear that, actually we are hearing that top global FMCG companies are moving, Nike, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and others. But when we will see that local, regional companies are creating their storefronts in the metaverse, and they start earning, they start selling there, then the real adoption will happen, because they will invest. And another aspect is what we are doing is the influencers. So when influencers are there, they will bring their people there. So that will foster the adoption. So thank you very much. If someone has questions, maybe we have some few seconds to add. We would like to answer. So, any questions? If no, so we will be outside. You can approach us and talk one-to-one. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.